Good evening, Shanti. Warm welcome back. We'd like to invite everyone to enjoy a short drill from Madhavan Ki.
मन बुद्धि संस्कार तीनों के मालिक बन ऑर्डर करो स्वीट साइलेंस तो अनुभव करो ऑर्डर करने से अधिकारी बनने से तीनों ये ऑर्डर में रहते हैं। अभी अभी अधिकारी की स्टेज पर स्थित हो जाओ।
Thank you. It would be very nice if you would like to share any aspect from yesterday or reflection or question. Found it interesting that it was said when the word realization is used, it is in English in the Merli with the meaning of experience, that there is a difference between knowing something and experiencing it. But there's also sometimes the happiness of knowing and the experience of knowing, but it's not the same as those moments where there is the complete intoxication of the realization, which is more like maybe actualization. And for me yesterday, the aspect of the spirit of play, to realize the self as a player and this physical world as the playground, big PlayStation. Even with service, anything, it's done with that lightness in its true form. And it'd be great to hear anything that else is coming up. Meanwhile, welcome to Prashant. Good evening.
Hello and good evening. Thank you for quick orientation. We'll create some time for experience. And as we underline each time, we start with the best intellect. And we understand what we are seeing here is a theater. When we are not using the best intellect, when we are using Patthar, stone intellect, during that time, this appears to be our main world. The story appears to be our world, as if we live in that story, in the theater. This time we play with the image of the actor, soul as an actor. Let's take the example of John acting in a school drama and acting as King Frederick. When John returns to the home of mommy and daddy, he returns as John. King Frederick is kept behind. We remind ourselves that since morning we have been watching the performance, a stage. Even right now, all this is happening in a theater and on a stage. For Paras, this is obvious. And we make a thought experiment like John, who was able to go to the home of mommy and daddy. In the same way, we step behind this theater. The actor steps behind a thought experiment. And the moment he steps behind this theater, he is free from this whole world of action and sound. He sees himself in this expanse. We see it in the image of a sky. And he is so happy that this world exists. So happy to experience the silence of this world. all along he's aware. He's just across on the stage. It is a world of constant sound and noise. And at the same time, he is in the complete silence of his world behind. He's so happy to experience the simplicity of this world behind the stage. Simplicity. On the stage, there is so much clutter, so many props. At the stage, you need crown and hats, beards and spears. behind the stage. In the home, he doesn't need any of this. There's complete simplicity. He doesn't even need the body. He remains that tiny, conscious being, just like a tiny point. No clutter. He's so happy to experience the sweetness of this world. Here is the family, his true family. All belong to this family. These are the ones he knew for eternity, like old friends, old relations. And there is that sense of belonging. All are lovely and loving. Such is the nature. They all need nothing from anyone. They all play different parts on the stage. Some may be playing parts of commanders and kings. They're playing parts on the stage, but behind, they know they are these actors, invisible actors, so separate from the part. As was said, part may be of King Frederick, but behind is so different. I'm so happy to be in the real world and the sweetness of this family. He's so happy to experience the security of this world. This world is beyond harm. On the stage, there are wars and there are fires. Episodes begin, episodes end. Theater also finishes. Whole drama finishes. But this world behind is eternal. Is not affected even the slightest by the drama. On the stage, there are dragons and there are villains, but behind, they're carefree completely, so secure. He's so happy to experience the solitude of this world. Everyone is here. It is a big gathering. And in the midst of this whole crowd, there is solitude. There is space. True solitude is here. Invisible actor is so happy to be in the company of the supreme friend, the company of the one who is the highest and the wisest and the holiest. In that company, we don't get that company on the stage. He gets this company here. Wisest. Why is he the wisest? Here is the one who plays the hero part on the stage. Plays the part of God on the stage. He is remembered, worshipped everywhere. Worshipped. The memorials everywhere. He creates heaven, uplifts and contributes to the benevolence of the whole lot. Everyone is benefited. A huge part of God. But behind the stage, he sees himself as a point. How does he see himself? He knows that he is no different to anyone else. Knows that that was the drama and that is a part. Just like John played the part of King Frederick, but he doesn't mix his life with the part. So here is the supreme friend who plays the part, hero part. But in himself, he is not affected by that part. He stays in truth, doesn't compromise truth. I'm very happy to be in that truth, to know that he is like everyone else and that everyone belongs to him, he belongs to everyone. Is this hero part. That remains in full wisdom. We realize the extraordinary option we have. There is a theater, there is a drama, and there is the world behind. The invisible actor is now conscious of this extraordinary truth. As he prepares to come on the stage again, come in the world of actions, he comes on the stage with joy and enthusiasm. Because he knows the stage as a stage. He knows the extraordinary truth behind the stage. He doesn't go on the stage with the patthar intellect, stone intellect, and consider the theater to be his. For him, the whole experience of theater is extra. Whole plot. He enjoys the whole plot, not just my part. All along aware of his extraordinary truth beyond. Thank you. Yeah, it will be nice to hear from you and to share your observations since yesterday.
While others are typing, there was a question yesterday at the end connected to this being like a game. This is a game for the invisible player. Is it a game or extra for the purpose of settling karmic accounts? Or should we not even think about this or think like this?
It is a game always, it's a game from the beginning till the end. Just like any drama, any other games, there are games created, but sometimes it is possible, a player can get into such a confusion that he can create a war of the game also. So that can happen. At present, we have changed this game into a war because of our confusion. But when we wake up, one who is self-realized, for him, it is forever a game. He doesn't see any karmic account in it. He doesn't see it that way. Of course, the things come in the physical world. There are reasons for it, but things get settled also. But for him, it is fun. Beginning is nice and end is nice. To win is nice too. Everything is nice. Game is that you enjoy the experience.
It feels like that attitude itself will be where you settle the karma without feeling like you're settling the karma. And
Yeah, it is like that.
yeah, so no other comments right now.
Excellent. So I will come to the whiteboard. Yesterday we referred to the self-realization. The important aspect of it is experience. We also use the word self-discovery. But seeing the contrast, when we are not self-realized, what is happening? Let us have some clarity about this. What happens when we are not self-realized? Do you want to tell?
Ego is realized.
Yeah.
Maybe get the wrong end of the stick. Things get distorted. Don't know it's a drama. We see ourselves just as the physical body and caught up in false narratives as if they're real. We become bigger, victim. We're confused without the anchor of self-realization. We get mixed with our parts, caught up in the drama, mixed with Ravan.
Yeah. One thing that does happen, this is a journey for each and everyone. We are ruled by ego. The ego, by ego we are meaning all the identities put together, is represented by this small I image. So this ego becomes the king. And this is no small thing. Ego becoming the king. It can be, some people might see it as academic. In Cambridge some years ago, there was some 3-day conference organized by the university on identities. And I was quite amused by this, that they were interested in this subject, and international conference and different people, but very casual about this, and of course they don't have a concept of the true I. They are discussing as if it is all normal, this is the way everyone identifies. But all these identities put together, we are using the word ego, and another word that is appropriate for it is Ravan. It is the same. Ravan is absolutely embodiment of ignorance. He absolutely lives in that box. Yesterday we used the expression, this world is a foreign world, it's a fictional world, it is a temporary world, and it's an empty world. Any stories, story there can be 10 tons of gold, but it is in the story, it is empty. So this world is a empty world. It is a temporary world. It is a foreign world. But Ravan is shameless and senseless. He absolutely lives in that foreign world with absolute rights. He is building fences and claiming it and fighting for it. He himself gets kicked out anytime. But he screams also, but doesn't let go of his senselessness, and shameless. To go to such a level, it is shameless. Now, what is the emotion that comes with this ego? We also said at different times that this world is unpredictable world. It is a temporary world, but it is also unpredictable world. And so when ego takes birth, his mind is in constant panic. Subconscious panic is always there. And this subconscious insecurity, so this is like sometimes it may get more, sometimes it gets more, less. As ego gets bigger, this panic also gets more. And this insecure feeling presents in sort of complicated ways in different people. But one presentation is the feeling that something very vital is missing in my life. Subconsciously, we know this. Something major is missing. And they don't know that stone intellect, they can't figure out what is missing in the life. Something very vital. And because it is missing, they are desperately, ego is desperately trying to find what is missing. And he may think he wants more gold, that is what going to fulfill him. And so this is the life of the ego we are talking about. So he might think maybe sense pleasures, so his pursuit is to address this, what is missing. This is the whole life. And he might get gold and he might get more, some cakes. And some of these things, praise and all, might feed the ego. Ego gets bigger. And bigger the ego, he is more insecure. He feels more missing. So it is he's in a reverse gear. This is the human race. This is the situation of the whole world at present. This insecure feeling creates in him the mentality of the victim. He's dependent on this world, story world, and suddenly things can change and things can go. Another way this insecurity presents is feeling of emptiness. He says, I got everything, but I feel empty inside. Worth writing this down. Anytime this feeling, something very vital missing in my life. This feeling, its origin is ego. And instead of trying to fulfill this, what is missing from outside, we have to address the ego. Now, when we see, uh, with the right intellect, if I was to ask you, what is the reason for why ego is there in the first place? What would you say? Why is ego there? Some people say, does ego perform any important task? Nature has created this ego. Is it required for our progress, for our protection? Do we need ego? What would you say? Why is ego created? What's the one factor, one reason why there is an ego?
When we interface with the world, because of the Iron Age, they don't know who they are. Is it desire or need for safety? Attachment or fear and fear? Ignorance? Help guide the putter?
Yes. No,
Head up the putter department. Protects us in a limited way but stores up trouble for later to experience the material or limited world.
yeah. Yeah, what you said, answers are right. In simple words, confusion. That's the only reason. It is, just imagine. So for any reason, you use the word I on something that you are not. You are using the word I to a table or to a chair or to some other person. It is major confusion. And that's exactly what ego means. You are using the letter I to things in a story, things that are in the foreign world. You are using the word I. And because it is stone intellect, because it is, we can't see the big picture here. There's an exit, guaranteed exit, and you define yourselves based on things of a story. So as long as there is stone intellect, we can't even begin to dismantle it. It appears all normal, and everyone else is in the same boat. That is why the language of Paras, that also gives us an idea, self-realization. Self is like coming to the true self. That is the answer to this life of ego. We want, it is not, self-realization is not a luxury of some few. This should be for everyone. Why should they spend their life in such confusion of ego, madness of ego? So we come out of this. Now, when you come in that self, you discover there are answers. All these feelings that were coming, we all know these feelings. That in psychology, they will say everyone tries to get fulfillment. They are looking for fulfillment, but never get it. Constantly, they are trying different things. These feelings of emptiness, sometimes we cover it up. We distract ourselves with something, uh, cheap kind of pleasures. But underneath, these feelings are there, feelings of the victim, and that we cannot cover up. But sorrows come. Why are people fighting wars? They all will say that they are victims. Leaders, ask leaders, they will say they are victims. So here, when you come in that self, you have the answers. You discover 100% freedom from that victim, 100% freedom from that feeling of missing, 100% freedom from that feeling of emptiness. That's why the game changes completely. One thing I want to underline, ego is projected based on the body and the role. King Frederick, if we take the example of this, or Cinderella, ego is based on Cinderella. So ego is based on Prashant. Ego is mad fan of Prashant. He wants to promote him. He wants to hear praise of Prashant. One who is realizing, one who is waking up, is not Prashant. One who is waking up is the invisible witness. Completely different. It is not extension of Prashant. It is completely different. Just as we are saying King Frederick is completely different to John. Even God, he himself sees that part is played that is completely different to he incorporeal him, and he stays in that, and that's why he is God. This is exactly what we need to grasp. We have to keep this separate. That effort is required because ego wants to come on this side. Ego wants to be holy. He wants everything else. He wants gold and he wants a bigger head. And another, I'm also holy. That is, ego has no problem with it. I'm angel. Yes, ego will love it. But ego, eh, just blocks it. It is just another form of ego, and we remain in the ego camp. Not even the slightest movement happens on the real side. It becomes an ego-based effort, and for this journey, we need to step aside from the ego-based effort. Let us hear from you some thoughts.
Question. So if John, in this case, example as true self, experiences emotions of King Frederick, which is the ego, is the stone intellect still active?
The answer is yes. Because we are using paras and we are making paras stronger. But when we are not using paras, stone intellect is very, very dominant. Immediately we are pulled into the world of Frederick and Cinderella and big feelings about it, and maybe even actions based on it. Not to underestimate this, the stone intellect dominance, and also the ego dominance. I'm talking here of those who are making spiritual effort. With the outside world, it is natural, 100%. But even when we are making spiritual effort to know this, because once you have seen it, we can drop it. If we are into denial, then we don't remove it.
A couple more questions. How do we step aside from ego-based effort? Is it even possible to play our role without ego? Can the physical role and script exist without ego?
Yeah, what was, we gave the example, John is acting as King Frederick. Mary is acting as Cinderella. Mary is acting as part of Cinderella for 1 hour. She doesn't create ego based on the Cinderella. She plays the part. She's amused by the part. And someone else is playing the part of the ugly sister. She's not creating an ego based on the part, ugly sister. So if it is possible for 1 hour, it is possible for 2 hours. It is possible for 100 years. So that is what we are expected to play the part, but not to create ego.
Where we need the broad intellect in this
Yeah.
paras. I think you've answered this question, but is it possible to enjoy the plot if you're not interested in it, and as in unlimited disinterest that we are told in Raj Yoga?
Yeah.
How can we do both, and is there an example to illustrate?
Yeah, sure. What happens is we give us let me give another example. There is a ant world, ant hill, and this eagle. Eagle is seeing itself as an ant, and is so excited about the sticky sugar in the ant world, and is collecting more sugar and progress and achievements, success, but want to become a big ant. And when this eagle realizes that it is eagle and it is not a ant of this world, and then there is he has to, once one is to know this, but then he still has to have the let go of his interest and excitement about the sticky sugar and his collection of the junk within that. He has to let go. He need to have unlimited disinterest. Then he can discover the eagle. And as an eagle, he can come and see that it is nice ant world. It is so nice. They are very cute, these ants. He can appreciate it. But he appreciates it from beyond. When he thinks he's the end, it is like there is a madness, the attachments and the ego, all this where there was madness about. Madness of Ravan was there. Now it is from wisdom, he appreciates it, but also is free from it. He enjoys the sky. Something similar happens here. When the self, true self, is conscious, he discovers his world. He discovers this extraordinary truth, life with God, life of perfection and immortality. It is like a world of disbelief. And now he comes here in the physical world, and it's a great, great theater. It's an amazing theater. Someone coming, someone going, someone jumping, someone is a joker, someone is a villain. Someone acting in a war. The whole thing is a theater. Okay, great. And thank you. Bye-bye. He doesn't want to collect anything in that. He doesn't come here as a beggar. He doesn't come here as a victim. He comes here as a witness. Appreciates it. I hope I answered.
The example is very vivid. And also, in a way, when we act, it is like we can enjoy the whole thing, but we're not obsessed or caught up with the associated role. We are clear that's not who we are. So, in a way, there's that disinterest because you're not excited if the role you're playing gets gold because it's not your gold. A bit like that. But you appreciate the whole play. So maybe this also is an example. Maybe one more question here. How do we know if it's ego-based effort or the real self-effort?
When the first thing to know is, since our starting position is ego, and it will only be ego-based effort to begin with. So, and not to be into denial, to understand, okay, that is the way it will happen. But we have the option to go to the next level, where the invisible soul, we are seeing the perspective of the soul, and then try and get a grasp of this, how the soul is seeing this world. That step, then it is soul-based effort. When we are using this language, the starting from the sky, not starting from, I'm relaxed and I'm sitting here and I'm, relaxing leg and hand. Then we start from the drama. Then ego is shadowing you all along. Start from the sky. Start from the perfect soul, and it will become easier. I was thinking I will practice, create some time for experience again, and after that, would like to hear some words from the Murli on realization and self-realization. Yeah. So right now we are using the best intellect. With this best intellect, we are seeing clearly the story as story. We said the ego and all has power if we use the stone intellect. Stone intellect totally favors ego. They cannot see it as a story. Now we are seeing it as a story, and it's a small story, small theater. And there is the world beyond this theater. Alokik world beyond. And in this is a true family. They all are like living stars. And the true self, all this environment absolutely favors the true self. True self becomes conscious. And for him, it is normal to be incorporeal, to see itself as this star is totally natural. It is normal to be immortal. Normal not to need anything for his existence. Normal to belong to that supreme sky. Finds it strange that anyone believes that they belong to that story. That story is not anyone's home. Finds it strange. Understands his complete independence from the story. Story is separate and his life is separate. Understands this. He needs nothing from the story. Understands it is normal to be content forever. He knows he is very, very lucky. He knows everyone is lucky. Their world is a world of immortality. Their life is with God. They are from the family of God, loved by God. They have a right to have company of God. They are from that family of divine royals. This world is a world of truth. It is a real world. It is not a story world. It's a world of divine family. Divine because there is no demon, nothing inauspicious. If there is no desire even, so there are no feelings of disappointment and desperations. There are none of this unpleasant feelings. That's why silent happiness and sweet peace. This is the way this world is. Everyone is good, everything is good. It is a world of disbelief. It is not just a meditation experience. For the invisible witness, one who is conscious, this is not a meditation session. He sees his home and his family. This is his life. That's why he knows everyone is lucky. and he knows he's lucky. This world is a world of perfection. Everyone is perfect, but the world itself is perfect. Nothing needs changing. They all are egoless and viceless and desireless, sorrowless. Timeless reality is this. World of God, world with God. Here we look into the far, far distance, and there is the story, performance, the present scene of that story. And it's a great story. He sees the story as a story. And when he sees story as a story, every moment is extraordinary gift. It's a perfect story. Just as his home is perfect, he sees this world is also perfect. Different episodes, they begin, they end. Stories are always harmless. Stories don't harm anyone. Only factor is confusion. That is the only factor that needs to be removed. Invisible witness. He is the invisible player. He silently knows he has won the sky. He also wins the earth. That is, he finds this physical world is also extraordinary gift. He sees it the right way.
You. Passage is from the Merlier, November 2nd, 1987. The easy basis of any transformation is the power of realization. Until you have the power of realization, you cannot have experience. And until you have experience, the foundation of the speciality of Brahmin life cannot become strong. Bring your Brahmin life from the beginning in front of you. The first transformation, the I am a soul and the Father is mine. On what basis did this transformation take place? It was when you realized, yes, I am a soul and this one alone is my Father. This realization enables you to have an experience. Only then does transformation take place. Until you realize this, you continue to move along at an ordinary speed. the moment the power of realization makes you experienced, you become an intense effort maker. In the same way, all the specific things about transformation, whether it is about the creator or creation, until you realize every aspect that is, yes, this is that time, this is that same yoga, and I am the elevated soul, you will not have the same joy or enthusiasm in your activity. For some, there will be a transformation for a short time due to the impact of the atmosphere, but it will not be for all time. The power of realization brings about easy transformation for all time. Thank you.
Any thoughts from Sarah and maybe from others afterwards?
It's the unmixing process is very interesting. Maybe what you said was interesting, that we start in a sense with the ego-based effort because we surely get glimpses of the true self because they're so powerful. But the next moment, what is interpreting that experience, and does it get reflected back to the role? Could be reflected glory that gets, so that's fine, and that's the process. But when we have a reference point for that which is separate, that we can come back to with a quiet confidence that it is really the I that is truly the witness, meaning completely stable in this play, that building of that awareness, that it becomes more like a process of joy because it's truly the answer. So I think just being observant, isn't it, that this passage talked about foundation. So this really is a foundation. We are aware that ego-based effort can come, but when the foundation is strong, it's really soul-based. And then everything is a learning. At least you have a reference point. Yeah, thank you.
No, I'd like just building on what you said. Just a quick reminder, something we might have mentioned in the past. Our effort, it goes through the 3 stages. In one stage, we said Harry is interested in spiritual ideas and he becomes a student Harry, spiritual student. He listens to the Murlis and all. So here is this is step 1. Harry becomes student. Step 2, student Harry is sitting in meditation and is seeing the soul. Understanding the soul, he is very excited about his knowledge of the soul. Fascinating thing for him. So student Harry is seeing the soul. What is step 3? You say step 3?
Step 3 of 3 steps.
Yeah, step 3, 3 steps altogether.
Soul sees Harry.
Yes, that's right. So step 3 is soul is now seeing Harry. In other words, there is a Cinderella and there is Mary. So it appeared as if Cinderella is making effort. So step 1 and 2, both these steps, they are ego-based steps. Step 1, it is ego-based. Step 2 is ego-based. Step 3, it is soul-based. As was said, it appears you are so identified with Cinderella that Cinderella is making effort. Cinderella has become a student Cinderella. Cinderella is interested in the soul. Cinderella is interested in Mary. But the ego is still holding on to the Cinderella. Doesn't want Mary to wake up. But ultimately, Mary has to wake up and sees that is all a drama, that's all a theater. In the same way here, when the soul wakes up, he understands, wow, that was a theater. And Prashant is part within that theater. And everything that happened since morning, that was a script, that's a theater. Step 3 is when the soul has woken up. So it is soul-based. Step 1, step 2 are necessary steps. As was said, on first day, we won't become soul conscious. We start from the ego. But we shouldn't stay in step 1 or 2 for longer. It is not a destination. Step 2 is not a destination. It is like you can become spiritual. The Cinderella becomes senior in Cinderella, and Cinderella becomes very holy, and ego may be very comfortable there. But that is not a destination. In fact, we shouldn't stay in this step 2 for too long. Why we shouldn't stay in step 2 for too long? It may be counterproductive. Why?
A bit like at school, you need to keep moving. If you stayed in the 3rd grade forever, 2nd grade in this case, but maybe there are other insights. Comfort zone, maybe it actually increases ego in some way. Like a side street, isn't it?
Yeah, what you mentioned. Ego will get bigger. If you continue to stay in step 2, because it is ego-based, whoever is in charge, he wants to get bigger. Any ant, anything cockroach comes, it wants to get bigger. It wants to eat. It will get some nourishment. So here, ego gets nourishment. Someone is praising what you said. Someone is praising, so holy. Ego will gobble it up all the time, and it will become an obstacle to your progress. So step 2 is a necessary step, but not a destination. We have to go to step 3, where this angel, an angelic prince, and one who is the wisest, one who is loved by God, he wakes up. That is the realization. Self-realization, for that, self has to be involved. Ego cannot have self-realization. The true self, when he is conscious, he discovers the ultimate prize. And And yesterday, some things we said, he feels he has attained what is there to be attained. And he feels he has understood the secrets of whatever is there to be understood. Most of the time, when it is ego based, I can read books, I can do this, but ego is forever having this underneath program. I'm missing something. I'm not fulfilled. I'm a victim. I'm empty. That is going on in the background. Some drop of poison is there. You may have everything around you, but there is a drop of poison. That's why that fulfilled feeling doesn't come when it is ego. When the soul is conscious, he feels he is got, he is free from those feelings. And that's why that experience of fullness and perfection and wonder and amazement and perfection. Everyone is good and everyone is perfect. It is like that, as was said, there is not a bigger prize than this at every level. No, there can't be anything higher than this, because in that space you are appreciating the stone, you are appreciating silence, you are appreciating everything. You are not a loser ever, you're never a victim. You are happy to come in, happy to leave. You know, your world is the biggest prize, you know this. Self is conscious. So then it is but three. You are in the self.
Having some kind of classification like this, it's for here has been so helpful, because you can sense, and otherwise it's so easy to claim the fruit of the action. For example, if it's ego based, it will be some kind of me, I. In the third step, there is already a full worthiness that's there, and there's no preferences on the outcome. Everything that we hear about the aim is kind of the form. Yet I feel that determination to be in step 3 is still required, because there can be a sort of I've understood and still Maya can come. So it's like a nice process to not just see and understand the 3 steps, but to really be determined within that, if that makes sense.
You just to know that there is a step 3, that itself is a nice thing. And ego will repeatedly pull you back in step 2. That is fine, but you know how to move back and nourish the soul awareness and make it stronger. You know the secret, how to step back behind this. As was said yesterday, it is like details. You understood the essence, and you work on the details.
When there's actually this experience of progress and understanding why, then a lot of energy comes from that. So yeah, understanding there's no wasted effort. So maybe it's a good time for Rose.
Yeah.
Do you want to pose a question?
How to go past the how to go past false ego and come to the true self.
Through self-realization.
Yeah.
We don't want ego to realize any more of himself. had a long time of ego realization. So actually not even ego realization. He's not even knowing himself. So the question is in the chat, and we hope you enjoy the room. Just giving space for everyone to share if you can. And we'll meet you back just over 10 minutes. Thank you. Welcome back. Hope you got a chance to hear from everyone. It's been nice to be in some rich discussions. Let's just take a moment for the quietness of our own realizations before we continue. Thank you. Welcome back. So it'd be great to hear the inquiry, what was important and what was realized in the chat, in the discussion. Put it in the chat. Would Prashant like to continue? There was a question about the Murli. So here, when you're ready.
So, and welcome back. Yeah, one question that comes up, and you had this question in our rooms also. And how come we are so sincere in our effort, and why there is so much time to reach the destination? And the answer to this is we underestimate how clever the ego is. Ego is one is clever, but ego wants to survive. Just like any creature wants to survive, no one wants to just disappear, die. So also ego. And even Darwin's theory, is not survival of the fittest, but the survival of those who can adapt. So ego is a master in that skill. He can adapt. And so ego adapts to this spiritual life. And Harry has become holy now, and Harry has become spiritual. It is a bit like that. Your ego wants to make Cinderella, become an angel, a bit like that. And ego can continue with that positioning, and it appears as if it's a forward progress. But as was said, it is step 2, and ego gets bigger in the process, and it will create a bigger problem to you and bigger problem to others also. And that, sometimes people use the language, fake it until you make it. You sort of be nice and pleasant and kind, and as if it appears like it is a forward progress. That is happening in the Lockic world. Many people are doing that. In corporate world, full of nice, nice, performance. But to bring about authentic change, the true self has to become conscious. And we use the language sometimes ego crunch, which means you take a position very clearly separate from the role, even for 5 minutes, to see the role very separate and see the role. And that's why you hear the language Prashant. That letter I used for that role, it reinforces the ego. We are talking about this major confusion, and in that confusion, this I is created, and we use that language. I. We are meaning Cinderella, and that reinforces, but confuses us further inside. So using that language and seeing the role and seeing very impartially, that in the drama, in the theater, that is one part, and when you even play with it for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, even just play with it, and you discover the self in the process. It is like this is our game, mm, to go past this ego, to just experience the self. And then you understand the wonder of the self. Ego will come back, but once you have seen the wonder of the self, your heart is involved now in the process of dismantling the ego. It doesn't become just Shrimat, just you are doing it because someone has told you, but you understand how this ego is like a eclipse, denying you something so beautiful, and it is your right. Yeah, let us hear some thoughts from you.
That's really interesting. And it's interesting that ego pride is totally different from the soul experiencing the wonder of itself. Because in a way within that is knowing the wonder of every soul and the wonder of the world of beyond. And it's like kind of a, do you call it, domino effect of benefit. So yes, and the heart is involved because you get the contrast. You see that everyone needs help, and we're all in a way in the process. Baba's, you see how Baba is totally distinct in his part. Yeah, thank you. This question here about the Murli extract. The extract title of the Murli was "The Basis of Self-Transformation is Realization with an Honest Heart." So the question is, the basis implies like construction or foundation, like a beginning of a path. Can you elaborate on what follows? And also, what is the meaning of honest? Because how is it possible to attain realization without honesty? Is it clear, the question?
Yeah. In that, the reason honest is used because it is like a truthful, it is lots of time we are absolutely, working for ego, and that's why it is not 100%, truthful to ourselves. We think we are nice, but it is not completely 100%. And to take a position, if you are able to take a position, separate from Cinderella. Like we said earlier, ordinarily everyone wants to defend Cinderella, which means the part you are playing. Right now here, Prashant is the part I'm playing. Ordinarily you want to protect, defend, Prashant should be seen in a good light. And we said just earlier, take a position where Prashant is part of the theater and it is not I, and you are neutral about it, and you will find there is a difference in everything that you see and hear. That will be more of a true heart. And otherwise, until then, we are having this one factor that is mixed. It is away from the true heart. Sarah, want to add anything more to that discussion?
Yeah, it's so interesting that, like, for honesty, another way of saying is to be truthful, but you have to be in truth to be truly honest. And we can't take for granted there's honesty. There's truth, actually, unless there is the separation. And to observe there's an honesty of the beggar as well, which is like a confessional type of, in the name of being honest, there's still a kind of a begging. So that's what came up here. And the second part of the question was, the basis of self-transformation is realization with an honest heart. So what comes next?
And realization leads to, and once you are in this journey, you come to next realization. It's a upward journey.
Yes.
I'll just come to this subject of self-realization, and we said one who experiments on this, even as we are talking, that try and get this going past the ego, going past the role. We are not getting the Cinderella to be realized. That is not, self is not at the level of Cinderella. We are going to the self that is beyond Cinderella. And ego within you and me will say, I'm not interested in that. Why we are talking about this? Ego is interested in me, this kind of a language. But that is what the game is. You are not trying to make the ego, self-realized. That is not possible. But the true self is awake and understanding, is complete independence from the story and the role right now. See it as very small, miniature drama, miniature tiny Lilliputians acting in this little drama. And the true self is with, his world is with God. His world is world of immortality. But most important, it is auspicious. It is a world of divine beings. Nothing inauspicious. And this world of truth. You are into that world. And completely free from the ego-based, his ego insecurities and the ego missing things in his life and all those feelings, free from that. Ego is the only factor that is blocking. As we are doing this, we will discover that this true self, he feels ultimate prize. That in this prize is there is love. Everyone is lovely. Everyone is loving. Deep inside, we feel congruent with this. It is not loving some. Some are more important. Some are less important. We are seeing that family all belong to this true family. All are worthy. All belong to this same home, same family. They're all harmless, all worthy of love. They are loved by God. And this extends beyond the human family. All life, they are all lovely and they are all worthy. We see them in the form of tiny stars. We are seeing them at a alokik level, beyond the story. And what will happen when you do come in the drama, and your drama is where we are seeing the performance, and you are able to see now behind anyone that you see is the same divine being that you loved, you know, and they are lovely. And this appears to be strangers in the drama, but for you they are not strangers. You feel they are very dear brothers. Not the role, not the drama, but behind the role. Invisible actor. And the same thing applies to any animal that you see. And this is good for us. Even if we come in that space for a few minutes, you are discovering true spiritual love, atmik pyar. Today we heard in the Murli, Baba used this expression, atmik pyar, soul love. Soul love means we don't say, I'm loving Freddy, and it is soul love. Just because I use the word soul. No, soul love is not love for Freddy. Soul love is for the actor behind Freddy. That love has power to help the actor to become conscious. Very, very different. So in your love, there is heart, but also head involved. If it is just love, 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 ordinary love, Baba said body conscious love, it pulls others into that confusion, takes them away from truth. The ego is the one that wins. Here you got a little bit of a discrimination. You silently know the actor behind, and you, regardless of the drama, you know the actor is immensely worthy. But same applies to every aspect. You find there is true perfection here. Everyone is perfect. Your mind is seeing fullness, perfection, greatness, peace. Today we heard in the Murli, even if they are throwing stones, you experience love. Take love from them and give them love. This is the message we heard. How is it possible? Take love, and they are throwing stones. And how do you take love? You just imagine. When you understand these two levels, then you realize in the drama, someone has a part to throw stones, but the actor is angelic. Each and every actor is divine and angelic. and their nature is love. So if you are tuning in at that level, then you are seeing that they can only love, so your mind is dealing with different game altogether, taking love, giving love. At the drama level, there is a war going on, but you are experiencing something different. And if the raw material, if that is what you are busy with, happiness, love, blessings, that is what you are dealing with, that is the raw material. That raw material is required for something higher. If you are aiming for angelic consciousness, you need the right raw material for that. So let us hear some thoughts from you.
Would you say that this transformation that is happening in the moment with other souls, like you're realizing the soul is awake and seeing the other as harmless, beyond harm, lovely, and even if they're throwing stones in a way, that's also becoming useful material for transformation. It kind of becomes a blessing also for them in a way. They get the opportunity to give you a spin ball. In a way, it's like it feels like the exchange of blessings could be that also. In a
Yeah.
way, it's a cooperation. Only if you have transformed. Yes, some comment similar. True self uses what is thrown as manure for the growth of the true self. Maybe a question here. How should we see the ego? Should we be grateful to that which creates emptiness but leads us to knowledge? Should we treat the ego as an enemy or with acceptance or as a naughty child or disinterest?
No, ego did not serve any purpose. Ego is, as was said, yeah, ego is embodiment of ignorance, embodiment of bondage, and as a result, it is the cause of all sorrow in the world. It's the cause of all the angers in the world, cause of all the wars in the world. And it is not required. Anything that is a product of ignorance is not required. Now the question is how to remove it. We absolutely need full light. That's why the great emphasis on paras. Even to observe it. Because ego is such a thing. I. No, it is I. Ego is observing the subject. Ego is trying to know about ego. And ego will go through everything, but will not take the last step to remove ego. So this is the trick that is we are finding ourselves in. But we have to start the process, and more you use the light, uh, the darkness favors ego. You bring full light, then ego becomes weaker, and then you are you are you are a winner.
You're saying it's not how we see it, but who is seeing it, and then whatever way we see it will be right.
Yeah.
I think maybe the question's coming from a feeling of we can create more of an enemy around it, and almost a fear can come up. Oh, is this ego or not ego? But that reaction can also come from another identity as well. So whatever it is, get the intellect right. Does that make sense?
Then we have to go through that. As long as ego is there, there will be fear also. Many people might say spiritual effort, it creates in them some kind of a fear, or feeling as though life is falling apart. All these feelings may come. but you are knowing that it is the life of the ego falling apart. And as ego gets smaller, those feelings will also become smaller.
Yes.
On the
And
other side is true self, and that is sublime and divine. The biggest prize. This is what we have got to offer to everyone in the world. And that this is the game they all have to play, to go past their own ego and not to be too light about it, because ego gets some prize, some chutney, some praise, something, position in the drama, but it prevents you from experiencing the eternal prize that is behind it.
can we see it as old programming? It's like us in a way neutral, not to undermine its perseverance, but it's sort of old programming born of ignorance.
Yes, that is the way the world is operating. Yes.
When you were sharing, it feels like the phoenix rising from the ashes, this image of the glory of the soul gets resurrected.
I
So,
was thinking of creating another few minutes of
yeah,
experience before we finish.
yes.
And the game is in full light. That is, we use the Paras intellect and see in 100% clarity. 100% Paras. And then we are able to see the way God sees. And if this is a story, full stop, it is a story. It is not our world. And we are able to step behind this world. Is straight away we are into the alokik, true family and the true father with interest. And the true self is conscious. And the true self, for him, it is normal to be incorporeal, normal to be like a tiny point, normal to be immortal, normal to be from the family of God, and normal to see himself completely separate from the story. That story is like Lilliput story. Tiny Lilliputs, someone amongst them is acting as a president and someone is a Mr. Universe. That is Lilliput world. True self, he doesn't mix his life with the Lilliputs. Understands his complete independence from there. Happy to be conscious. Happy to remain self-realized. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone, especially translation teams. We'll finish with a few moments of Vajro from Madhavan. Shanti.
Papi. Exhale. सेकंड हुआ, एक सेकंड में सारी सभा जो भी जहाँ है वहाँ मन को एक ही संकल्प में स्थित करो। बाप और मैं परम धाम में अनादि ज्योति बिंदु स्वरूप परम धाम में भाव के साथ बैठ जाओ। अच्छा, अभी साकार में आ जाओ।